And welcome everyone to the splendid EPL show, Pom and Fazz football show live on a Thursday night, joined by the world's biggest West Ham fan, Big Fazz. How are you doing?
Good, my man. I never get sick of that intro. Bloody brilliant. But no, it's good to be here. Thursday, my second favourite night of the week, obviously, as we lead up to a wonderful weekend. But no, couldn't think of a better way to spend it.
Mate, there's been a lot on. We've had a wonderful second week, a lot of thrills, spills, some exciting results, some depressing results, if you're me and Faz. But we've had some wonderful games, and I suppose we might as well kick off and let's recap the week.
Hurt me. Do you want to feel how it feels? Do you want to know?
Well, as you're all rolling, good day to Robbie, Big Pete Haywood, 2 Villa fans in the chat now, Kusa, Sandra, Andrew, the gorgeous Luke James, Michael's in, teach me the art of soccer. Well, we'll aim to do that, but we obviously had the second week of football, and it was a topsy-turvy week, wasn't it? We started with Villa Everton. We were big advocates of Villa turning it round, and they got on the winner's podium, didn't they, with a typical Steven Gerrard type performance, 2-1 at home against Everton. How did you make that one?
Well, it was a really exciting game. Obviously, the build-up. We all know Stevie G versus Frank Lampard. Any one of our ilk or generation, they're the poster boys pretty much. And for them to go against each other as managers, it was an exciting game. I said it last week. Villa just had to get it done. They just had to get the job done. Talking about an Everton team who we both tipped to be near the bottom, and we both thought Villa were going to have a good season. Very disappointing opening day for Villa, but they got to the job done. It was nothing brilliant, nothing fancy. I thought they just did what they had to do, and other than that late goal, I thought it was quite a comfortable performance.
It was, yeah, the own goal. I mean, most people have Lucas Digne in their fantasy side. So if you're like me and you thought about bringing him in, you're glad you didn't, that -1. But interesting, the late injury, as Peter Haywood mentions, to Diego Carlos took a little bit of the gloss of the game. But he brought in Tyrone Mings, switched to the backup 4-1-2-1-2. He did what Pom said. He brought Buendia in. So nice to know Stevie G still listens to his favourite Rangers fan. And
also starting Watkins on. Yeah, starting Watkins on as well. I think we mentioned that last week. Buendia, Watkins, Mings. I think they just looked a more complete side. Coutinho playing that number 10 role just behind the 2 strikers. I think that's his best position in a diamond formation. So if that's the blueprint for Stevie G going forward with Villa, yeah, I think they're going to have a really good season. Maybe the opening round was a bit of a mulligan, as they say, and just a bit of a, a new promoted team coming up, hard to, always up and about. But this was a win that I'm glad they had, because they really had to.
Mate, yeah, I agree with you. I prefer Buendia than Coutinho. I've never been a fan of Coutinho, but maybe that's me. Everton, though, they look in a world of pain, don't they? Let's be honest. Do you know what I mean? They're getting very creative. I always think if you start playing 3 at the back and your bottom 5, you're in for a long, hard haul. And Tarkowski, Holgate, and Connor Cody as a back 3 reeks of vomit, to be honest.
It really does. They're not a good back 3 partnership or trio. What's really costing them is Calvert-Lewin being injured. Losing Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin being injured, really costing them. They look in a world of hurt. Early on in the season, they're not being disgraced as such, but you go through and it's just going to be hard to find where they're going to pick up points. And I think they've got good players as name goes, but I just don't think collectively they're going that well. Like I like Doucouré, I like Gray, I like Dele Alli as well. But as a collective, I don't know. They're just not doing it for me. They're just not doing it for
Mate,
me.
I'm with you. I think they've got relegation written all over them. And Mighty Hibs, we are rivals this week. The Mighty Jers take on your boys. That will be a ripper. 3-0 Rangers. And then we got the next game, Arsenal-Leicester. Now, this was a rip snorter. Gabriel Jesus looked the part. My boy Martinelli taking the piss. And tell you what, maybe people are starting to take notice of Arsenal because that was a very complete performance, wasn't it?
A statement win in my opinion early on in the season. We mentioned last week or in our preview that Arsenal probably need to get off to a good start, and I know it's only 2 games in, but there is starting to be this little bit of a separation already at the table. And you think about a team like Liverpool, which we'll get to. I mean, they're already 4 points off the top. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't sound like a lot, but those gaps keep widening. Leicester, very disappointing. They were disappointing last week. They're disappointing again. They're a bit of a watch this space for me now, Leicester. I know it's only 2 games in, but once you start getting dragged down to this quagmire down the bottom, it's going to be very hard to fight your way out of it. But that's Leicester. Let's talk about Arsenal. Impressive. We spoke about it in our preview, how they're going to be this watch this space team, how they're going to go. I think they've made the best signings, probably other than Tottenham. Premier League experience, bringing it in. And I just think there's something about them, whether or not they can continue this throughout the season, but they're tasty. They're very tasty at the moment, Arsenal.
Mate, I've got to say, I do like Partey and Xhaka as well, just sitting in front of that back four. It gives me an imagination of Vieira and Gilberto Silva. If you went and bought them at Kmart, you'd get Xhaka and Partey. So I do have that very old Wenger-type style there with them two protecting that back four and Odegaard being more of that number 10 playmaker type player. I do really like what Arsenal are building. I've got to say, you've got to start taking them serious because I think if Martinelli and Saka, and then if you add Gabriel Jesus, they've certainly got the firepower. And if everyone stays fit, Arsenal's back four looks fairly solid with Xhaka and Partey if he can stay fit. I think it all hinges for me if Partey stays fit.
Yeah, and we spoke about that a couple. Yeah, we spoke about that a couple of weeks ago about Partey, and I think you just have a look, not looking too far forward, but the next 2 games are against Bournemouth and Fulham. I mean, they could have a really solid foundation in the first month that I just think very, very exciting for Arsenal fans, and I think good to see, to be honest, because they've been in a bit of no man's land for a long time. Mate,
I couldn't agree more. And then we go to one of the most boringest games I've ever seen. 8 shots in 90 minutes. This Brighton Hove Albion versus Newcastle. You didn't really learn too much about these sides, did you? It was fairly even as stats go, minus the shots, but on target. But it was a very round week 2 do not lose game. This wasn't it?
It was 0-0. Move on. Look, they it was absolutely horrendous. But going to Brighton, hard place to go. It did feel a very much of we both got wins in game 1. Let's get a draw in game 2. Start off with 4 points. It was a very safe game. I still stand by, and I'll keep talking about Newcastle every single week because we know they've got billions. You are not going to win enough games with Callum Wilson as your striker and Chris Wood coming off the bench. You're just not. It is as simple as that. They need to make signings. They need to do something, whatever it is, because if they want to break the top 6, Callum Wilson is not a top 6 striker. In fact, their front 3, St. Maximin, Wilson. Oh, and I like them. Don't get me wrong, but St. Maximin, Wilson, and Almiron, that's not a top 6 front 3.
Mate, Scarborough Athletic, this, Nicholas. Lay off them, unless you're from Pickering or Bridlington. Tell you what, good non-league boys. So good. They've just got promoted recently. So a good mate of mine sent me this in the post. Then we go on to City and Bournemouth. Tell you what,
Job done.
City look ominous, don't they? Especially when Erling Haaland didn't hit the old onion bag. But I'll tell you what, that side is fearsome, isn't it?
I watched this game. I didn't feel like they got out of second gear, to be honest. They were just, it is great to watch. And I know it's against a Bournemouth side who obviously we've all tipped to struggle. They had a good win last week. We've all tipped them to struggle, but they're just tasty to watch. I think I'm not the biggest City fan, obviously. Neither are you, but how can you not watch them? There's goals. They're passing. There's nothing more to say. I feel like it's going to be a similar conversation most weeks about City. It's like, yep, they were great. What do you want to say? Move. No, do you know what I mean? Like, they're just a class above.
Might just clip it and just play it. Yeah, City pretty good. I've got to say,
above.
like they've got goals everywhere, and like honestly, I thought Liverpool would be their closest competitors with their transfer window. I thought Tottenham may break that top four. We were confident on Arsenal. We thought Chelsea may be the side that slips, that gives Arsenal one thing. But I just think City, unless they have massive injuries, they've won the league.
Yeah, I think so. And I guess, we could talk a little bit about Bournemouth. It sounds bizarre. Like, they lost 4-0, but I didn't think they were disgraceful. I just think that's just the golf in class. I really worry about Bournemouth. I want them to do well because I'm a big Scott Parker fan, obviously, but I do worry about them. I know they had a good win last week, but they're just looking at their names. They don't really have, when you're trying to survive the Premier League, you look to a player or you look to a leader, and I look at their team, and Lewis Cook is probably their leader, but is he the spiritual leader? Is he the Calvin Phillips? Is he the Scott Parker of the West Ham days? Is he that bloke who's going to drag them over the line when shit gets tough at the back end of the season? I don't know. So they worry me. They do worry me. But the City side, my goodness.
Mate, I'm with you. And I agree with you here, Dalski, as well. Yeah, Foden believes his own hype at times, doesn't he? But yeah, I agree with you about Bournemouth. I mean, they're in a world of hurt. When you've got Marcus Tavernier leading your line, he ain't his brother. Let's put it that way. Do you know what I mean? But then we go to Leeds United, Southampton. This was a great game, this. I did thoroughly enjoy this game, I have to say. Joe Aribo, former Rangers boy, breaking his deadlock. Did call it on the show last week that Joe Aribo would score as well. Just if anyone like me had him in his fantasy team, and I can't answer your question, Harley. I have no idea why fantasy hasn't updated, but Joe Aribo scored, and that's all that matters. We look for Rangers boys on here. Good game though, that. And I tell you what, Leeds and Southampton here, they both played positive football, didn't they? They've really got that DNA of giving it a go.
Yeah, look, I mean, I'm very happy with Southampton. I tipped them at the start of the season to be relegated. I think they showed really good fight, but I'm going to be very glass half empty on Leeds. Very glass half empty, because I said it at the start of the year. I said it in our preview. Their biggest issue is they bleed goals. They're 2-0 up, for Christ's sake, and they get a 2-2, and they were lucky not to lose it. That is a what's the word? That's a in the DNA of Leeds at the moment. Ever since Bielsa took over, they just bleed goals, and you know what? They could be 2-0, 3-0 up, and you're never ever confident until that whistle goes. So I'm very glass half empty on Leeds. I think that they were points. They're lucky they got the win last week, but they were points they should not have dropped to a Southampton team that I think are very, very poor. Stop bleeding goals. Fix that defence up, Leeds.
Mate, they do look a centre-back short, don't they? I mean, they look very good going forward, but I mean, I feel like they're lacking a real quality centre-back, quality centre-back in, like the old days of Rio Ferdinand or something like that. They really need someone to control that, because I don't mind Koch and Christiansen on either side. I do think that works. I just think Diego Llorente, just for me, looks way lightweight for the Premier League.
Just quietly, I'm just writing the time down because I'm going to cut that out where you said I don't mind Koch. So All right, that's going to be my new thing. All right, so it's 15:30. All right. No, but you're right. They're good. They're great solid centre backs. I think with Harrison and Aronson and Rodrigo, they've got goals everywhere. Bamford can score goals. But yeah, that they are their defense just worries me. You can't bleed goals, and I'll get to when we talk about other teams later. The only thing for me, I like this comment. I think Leeds getting relegated. The only thing for me is I just think there's a few too many shit sides. You look at the likes of Fulham, Bournemouth. I said Southampton, Everton. I think they're all worse than Leeds. So I think the one thing that's going to keep Leeds in the league is that there's just more crap sides. So
I'm with you. I think they'll struggle if they don't show that up, particularly if you're conceding 2 goals to Southampton, who I wouldn't say are the most aggressive side in the league. But it was a great game, I've got to say, as a partial observer. It was a good game. I was between that. I watched City because that was the main one, but on my second TV, I was in between this and Wolves Fulham, and thank Christ, I took the other game, Wolves Fulham. This was another very game that kind of this. I mean, this only had a combination of 16 shots all game, 4 on target. It was a very poor game. This was a game that neither side wanted to lose. And I think it's a point gained for Fulham and 2 points lost for Wolves.
Look, I look at it a little bit differently. I agree with what you're saying. You know, Wolves coming off that loss against Leeds, they could not lose this at home. So they played that way. And Fulham coming off a great point, getting another great point. I've been very impressed with Fulham. I've been very impressed their last 2 games. Mitrovic missed a penalty in that game. I mean, I starting to think, and it was a late penalty too. I'm actually a bit the other way. I think it's more, this is 2 points dropped for Fulham because I thought they were the better team on the night. And I think they'll look at this and the Liverpool game last week, Fulham could have easily been on 6 points, easily, and they're only on 2. Wolves didn't impress me at all. So they're another one of those teams like a Leeds, which ironically they played each other last week, but just got to pull their finger out a bit. Just a bit of a slow start. And trust me, there's another team we're going to be coming up very soon who I'm going to talk about needs to pull their finger out. Wolves, a bit of this question mark, but I am liking Fulham. I like their fight. They need to get more points on the board. They needed to snag this win. If they're going to keep playing like this, they need to snag a win.
Yeah. To answer your question, Michael, Leno was on the bench. He didn't play. They went with the other keeper, but they did have a penalty, and amazing. Since we're on this show and we slated Mitrovic, potentially could have been the Golden Boot winner after 2 rounds if he'd put that away. So, yeah. I mean, there it is. But then we go to another team. Like, we come now to the 2 teams that everyone's come to watch because Pommy and Fazz. But United 4-0. And what can you say? Really, I mean, 4-0. United, 35 minutes into a game. You don't often see it. And to be fair, they were outworked, outclassed. They looked devoid of anything. There was maybe 10 minutes in the entire 90 where United looked okay, and that was just after a bollocking after half-time. But for Brentford, they will be watching that game and go, you know what? United didn't really trouble us at all, did they? And let's be honest, United never looked like winning that game. You can't even say, once that first goal went in, and there's big issues at United, I think, because this side is a weak, cowardly side. Because as soon as that first goal went in, you saw United, that they were up for it. And to be fair, I think the scoreline flattered United.
Oh, man. That first half an hour was maybe first 40 minutes was the most diabolical 40 minutes of football I think I've ever seen Manchester United play. And I don't want to sink the boots in or whatever. That was, I was shocked, dead set shocked. I mean, there are some big issues at Manchester United, and I don't know. I don't think it's going to be able to be fixed just like that. I think it's going to be a bit of a slow look at Arsenal. I think it might be a little bit like that, a bit of a rebuild type scenario. I'm not too sure. It was worrying. Rashford,
Shit.
the back
Like,
the back four just looked like any striker with the slightest amount of pace is going to murder that back four. It just worries me.
mate, I
But
feel
yeah.
you, Bruno. That we'll come on to United a bit more because we've got something special for you. But then we go to Forest West Ham, and I was watching this game with Fazz. I was texting away to him. We were hustling away. We were licking our wounds after a horrible night, really. And yeah, for United fans, Dean Henderson turned into prime Peter Shilton. And what happened, Fazz? Talk me through it.
Look, I think you could play that game 100 times over, and West Ham probably win 99 times out of 100. It was just when you hit the crossbar twice, a missed penalty, saved off the line, a goal gets disallowed. I mean, chance after I did see a stat during the week that West Ham were like the top 3 in Europe this week for that percentage of expected goals.
Yeah.
And we didn't even score. It was just one of those games. It was just the first half, West Ham were pretty crap. Jesse Lingard with a magical assist, as they say.
The old shin guard through ball. We've all done one.
Yeah.
I've got to say, though, we didn't celebrate like Lingard. Because the way Lingard celebrated that assist, I thought he'd done a Ronaldinho versus Real Madrid at the Nou Camp.
Yeah, no, exactly right. And yeah, good luck for him, to him. Sorry. And look, West Ham, I think just we'll get to them because we've got a bit of a segment on them. But it's a game that they just should not have dropped. They couldn't. They're now 0-2, sitting second last on the table, and pressure's got to come. Pressure will come. It has to come for David Moyes, and we'll talk about that soon. But a horrible game for West Ham. Nottingham, I'm going to be honest, Nottingham Forest, they didn't impress me at all either. They got the 3 points, fair credit to them, but they're going to have to play a hell of a lot better if they want to stay in this league. A hell of a lot better.
Mate, I agree with you. I thought Dean Henderson was good. To answer your question, Pete, 2.1. So that's very high.
Yeah.
Basically, that's like suicide town. I have got to say, though, I was very impressed with Taiwo Awoniyi. Great name. But I've got to say, I'm a sucker for a striker that plays with a smile. He never stops smiling. And I think that holds you in good stead. He deserved the goal. I hate to say it to you, Fazz. No, it was coming. It was coming, wasn't it? That goal.
If he can clean up his finishing, he could have had a couple on the night, to be honest. But he's just got to clean up his finishing. But his pace to burn. And in this league, you got pace. You know, you're going to get opportunities,
mate. And I wanted just to quickly talk about my favourite player for West Ham, Tomas Soucek.
Oh,
what's his fucking problem,
mate? One hit wonder, that bloke. He had a great season. I tell you what, he's like a witch's hat, isn't he?
I have never seen someone have that many attempts on goal.
The one
and not even hit the target.
Well, the one was it when Fornals hit the crossbar, comes in. I'm celebrating, open net, and he still heads it. And the keeper, everyone's saying great save by the keeper, but oh my goodness, he has had a very, very, very poor start.
Mate, Fazz was hurting. We'd lost the will to live by that time of the night.
Look, I'm not being bitter. I call it as I see it. I'm not sure if you're saying bitter towards Nottingham Forest or whatever, but the fact is they weren't great. I mean, West Ham should have, could have, would have. If Yanni had, bicycle should be a bike or whatever, wheels or should be a bike. Pommy, what's your favourite line?
If my nan had wheels, she'd be a bike.
That's the one. Ifs and buts, I get it, but Nottingham Forest have to play better if they want to stay in the league. It's as simple as that. And I'm not crediting West Ham because I'm telling you now, West Ham have got to bloody play better if they want to do something this season. So,
mate, I agree. And we move on. We'll talk more about our two teams in a minute. We've got Chelsea Spurs was our pick of the week. The game we said was the one to watch. Yeah. Boy, oh boy, it didn't disappoint. This had everything, didn't it? It had centre-back goals. It had last-minute equalisers. It had coaches getting into punch-ons. And
Hair
it
pulling.
also had some guy with long sideshow bob hair having his hair ripped out for the equaliser, which I've got to say, is there anything more Premier League than that? But it was a great
Classic.
game, wasn't it?
It was superb. It was superb. I enjoyed. Look, as a supporter watching it, I hoped somehow they could both lose, but it was beautiful to watch. Topped off with the awesome footage that I loved. AFL media trying to talk about it, acting like they know the world game. I don't know if you heard Matthew Lloyd, and he's like, "Oh yeah, Conte and Tuchel," and like acting like
he massacred it. Yeah,
he massacred it. But no, it was brilliant. It was brilliant. That it deserved that last second equaliser. The fight was brilliant. The goals were brilliant. Koulibaly's goal, amazing. Pick of the round, easily.
Mate, I love this game. And, controversially, I was watching this in my little group with my mate, and he's a Chelsea fan. I actually thought Spurs were the better side. And he was like, oh, how can you say that? We dominated possession. But I thought Spurs played a Conte game. I didn't think they looked troubled. Apart from them 2 goals, I thought Tottenham, it felt inevitable. When they scored that second with Reece James, it felt like it was always going to be an equaliser. And I thought I actually thought that Spurs, in my opinion, I thought they were the better side. I preferred their game. I thought they deserved the 3 points.
No, I agree. I thought they were the better teams. I think I even called it last week when I gave my predictions. I think I said Spurs, what did I say, 4-0? Because I just didn't rate Chelsea. So, it was a great game. Great game.
Mate, 2 teams to watch, particularly Spurs. I think Spurs will be very, very, very tasty, particularly at home. I reckon that's going to be a tough fixture for anyone. And then we finished the round with perhaps the shock of, this blew me away. You could say 4-0 to Brentford is a shock, but I didn't think Palace had a Scooby. And somehow, Palace, I'm still struggling to see how Palace didn't get the win. But a 1-0 draw, Will Zaha doing what Will Zaha does, and that's score against good clubs.
Yeah.
But the talk of the round was Darwin's superior headbutt. You know what? I've got to say this. This is going to be controversial because I think he should have been sent off for the attempt anyway. But Anderson needs to look at himself because he hit the ground like an absolute sack of spuds with that headbutt.
Yeah.
Tell you what, Uruguayans in the Premier League, I'll tell you what, you would not want to owe a Uruguayan money.
No, it wasn't a great look for both.
Good headbutt though.
For both Darwin and Anderson. Yeah, it was good. But look, I'm just gonna do my first alarm bell for the season. Liverpool, big alarm bells.
Mate, that depth in that side as well. I just look at Liverpool and I just think for some reason you take that 11 away, there isn't the depth there, and the gap between City and them is astronomical.
I called it during we both called it during the review, the preview. Sadio Mane is one of the most important players to that team. The fact that they just let him, you can't replace that. And I'm calling it now. 2 games in, they can't win the league. They can't win it. They can't win it. I think they're done. And you know what? I think they're gonna struggle to break the top 4 this year. There we go.
Mate, and Xbox Game Pass giving the hey. I honestly, I'm not saying I'm enjoying where Liverpool are, but I am. It makes me feel somewhat better. But that's the recap of the week, and we got some questions this week, and let's see who's Fazz is questioning.
It doesn't hurt me. Do you want to feel how it feels? Do you want to know?
So who do you hate this week, Fazz?
All right. I hope you're sitting down, West Ham fans, because I'm about to go down a path that not many people are going to like to hear. David Moyes. I'm just going to ask the question, has he run his race? Has he done all he can do for this football club? And everyone will say, it's only 2 games, Fazz. What are you talking about, Fazz? But I've got some stats that I've written down here. Because this is a systematic thing that has extended from the back end of last season, all right? Now, I don't just, you know me well, Pommy, I don't just fly off my handle for no good reason, all right?
I'll back him there. I'll back him there.
2 wins in the last 11 Premier League fixtures, West Ham. 2 in the last 11. That includes these 2 and the previous 9, right? 8 points from a possible 33 in the last 11 Premier League games, right? This is the stat for me that is the killer. Write this one. What I'm about to hear now. So sit down, clean your ears out. 5 clean sheets in their last 21 Premier League games. 5. This is a systematic problem that has occurred from halfway through the season, last season, when we're up and flying, to now. The last 2 seasons, West Ham had really good seasons, and they finished 6th and 7th or whatever it was. West Ham had great starts. I remember 2 seasons ago, we were fighting for top 4. In fact, both seasons, fighting for top 4, and then fell away at the back end of the season. Well, guess what, David Moyes? This season, you've started like shit. You've started like absolute shit. The preseason was diabolical. The first 2 games have been diabolical. And I'm telling you now, if you're going to rely on getting points later on in the season, you got to do something different, because the squad is stale. The players are cooked. Declan Rice don't want to be there. Jared Bowen don't want to be there. You've got to do something. Otherwise, I think it's David Moyes. He's going to find himself in a lot of trouble, because West Ham do not put up with this crap. They sack managers like that. And especially when you've got
a relegation battle, like Michael says. Can you see that?
If the stats I just read out continue, then yeah, 100%. 5 clean sheets in 21 Premier League games. That's a relegation form. 8 points from 33. That's a relegation form. 2 wins from 11. That's a relegation form. I'm very upset. And we've got Brighton coming up this week, West Ham, right? We have not beaten Brighton in the Premier League era. We haven't beaten them. So if you think you're just going to get 3 points next week and be happy with it, go ahead. But I'll just realize Aaron Cresswell, he's finished. Antonio, finished. You're playing a young right back at centre back. Shufal, a shadow of himself. Thomas Souček, what the fuck, right? Declan Rice don't want to be there. Bowen don't want to be there. The only decent highlighting player is Benrahma. But even then, I mean, it is squeaky bum time for West Ham. And honestly, David Moyes, he could be in trouble. Just watch this space.
Do you feel West Ham have made a mistake in being very adamant they're not selling? Do you think, I think sometimes a lot of sides get into a mistake of Bowen and Rice. They've been very firm on they're not wanting to sell when they'll only sell for the right price. Do you think that maybe is filtering through? Because I have noticed, I think you're spot on, Bowen and Rice particularly look dog shit this year compared to last year.
I can understand the Declan Rice situation, because I believe Declan Rice will captain England. I believe that he is the type of player who will be professional regardless, right? So I understand keeping a hold of him. The minute Jared Bowen was linked to Liverpool, they should have sold him, because he has form. When he was playing for Hull and linked to West Ham, he turned to dog shit for the last 6 or 7 weeks of Hull before coming to West Ham, right? He was horrendous. He's been our worst player, Jared Bowen, and he played for England. And I agree with what Michael said. Not investing enough.
Yeah.
West Ham need Aaron Cresswell is a 32-year-old left back who can't run. They need a new left back. They don't have one. They signed and look, there is luck. I understand luck. They signed Aguerd as a centre back. Fantastic, right? He's out till after the World Cup injured. Craig Dawson's out injured. Ogbonna's coming back from an ACL. So you literally got Kurt Zouma as your centre back. So what they had to do, they had to go out and spend 15 million on another centre back just to make dues. So you do need a bit of luck. But, you know, Scamacca as a striker, I don't know. He looked horrendous when he came on against Nottingham Forest. I'm not going to hang him because he's new to the league, but geez, look, you didn't expect to beat City. All right, that's one first and foremost. I expected to beat Forest. So at the moment, I think we're 3 points behind where we should be right now. However, I look back and 2 wins from 11, 8 points from 33, 5 clean sheets in the last 21. Forget this season. Look back into the back end of last season. It's not good enough.
No, mate, I couldn't agree with you more. And I do think, like Michael says, I am surprised you guys haven't invested. Like, I would have thought, like, for me, I think what separates, like, you look at the great clubs that have managed to do the hard thing. I think it's quite hard to go from mid-table to fourth. I think that is probably the biggest jump, in my opinion, in football.
Yeah,
in football, right? But I think they need to put a bit of money in, put a bit of huge money in, and I am surprised that they haven't.
And look, and I've got no issues. I mean, I'm not naive enough to think that we were going to play Europa and European football every season. That's just not feasible with West Ham. But what I want to get, I've said it about lots of clubs, Palace, Wolves, Leeds. What do you want to be? And I'd say that if West Ham's owners were sitting across from me right now, I'd say that, what do you want to be? What is your target? Obviously, we're not going to win the league or anything, but do you want to be the best of the rest? Or are you happy to finish 10th to 13th, 14th every season with the occasional European tour? That's what I'd ask them, because I honestly don't know what their answer would be. Because at the moment, it looks like this season, we're probably going to be about that 10th, 11th mark, unless something dramatic happens. And what happens then? You know, how do you attract players, you know, to play European football? You know, David Moyes come out in the press and said, we want players who are going to improve us to make us to the top 6. I get it. But players aren't going to come to West Ham because you're not playing Champions League. You're not playing Europa League. You're playing the Conference League.
Mate, I couldn't agree more. And I do think that, you know, you've made a mistake. I think that clubs try and do it on a budget. I think he's done a wonderful job getting you to where you are, Moyes.
For sure.
And I think now the time is to buy Maguire, sell Bowen. I love that. But I think this is a great one as well, right? From Mighty Hibs. I think Antonio isn't the kind of guy that gets you into top 4. And I am surprised you've taken a risk with the Italian, right? Who's got great goal scoring pedigree. I'm surprised you haven't gone after an established striker.
Yeah, I'm with you. Antonio, he's had a great couple of seasons. He's broken West Ham's Premier League goal scoring record. Fantastic player. I love him, and I'll always love him. But no, he's not the right man to break us into that top 6 back again. I don't think so. Scamacca, jury's still out, but I think, look, I'm not ready to hang him and all that, but I just think, has David Moyes put the foundations down for the club? Recruiting and all this stuff and how to play? Is it time? Do we go for a fresher manager with a fresher game plan? I'm not saying that right now. I'm saying if David Moyes can't turn it around, 5 clean sheets in 21 games, Pom, I'll say that 100 times if I have to. If David Moyes can't turn that around, do they start looking at a younger, fresher manager with a more modern game plan, more modern style? I don't know. I don't know the answer. All I know is 8 points from 33 and 5 clean sheets from 21 is not good enough.
I'd love to know what the audience's thoughts are, because as Jacob said, he came to United and it never quite worked. Do you think that maybe Moyes is one of them, what I like to call foundation managers, very good at getting you stabilized, but there's something special, isn't there, about the top managers? Like, I would say Pep would be fucking useless at Everton, right? But I think his ability and his tactical nous can take a good team to a top level. Do you think that Moyes maybe has just found his level, that his level is getting a team to 6th, building it in a foundation, kind of like a Paul Roos maybe in AFL,
100%,
that he can build
100%.
the system, but to go that next level, you need something else.
Yeah, 100%. I think 100%, and that's no shame in that. I think that David Moyes is a wonderful manager, wonderful builder. If I were a betting man or a bit of a Back to the Future, get the almanac out or whatever, I wouldn't be wouldn't be too surprised if by Christmas that Moyes might be managing Everton again.
Mate, I could see it. I could see
Yeah.
it. Who would you take? Say if I gave you
Graham
an
Potter.
open checkbook and but it has to be realistic. Who would you be targeting?
As a striker or as a manager?
That was the manager. Say if
Graham
Moyes
Potter.
left
Graham Potter.
now.
Graham Potter. 100%. Potter. 100%. 100%.
Mate, I think that's a great thing.
Yep.
Agree with you, Xbox, as well. Do you know what I mean? Right? Do you know what I mean? But I do think that's it. Where did we say Newcastle would finish? I can't remember. I think I had them 12th. Mid-table?
Yeah, between that 9th to 12th. If they get a good striker in, the world's their oyster. But until they replace Callum Wilson.
Mate, I love it. And we go to what is annoying me.
It doesn't hurt me. Do you want to feel how it feels? Do you want to know?
Do you know what I mean? And no surprise, under pressure for me, is the shit show that is Manchester United at the moment. Do you know what I mean? Absolute barbaric. And Jacob Cov asked some great, I think it was Jacob Cov, let me just go and find it. He asked some questions about United. Sorry, it was Adrian Rizzoli. Great name. What are my thoughts of the Glazers selling? They need to fucking sell this football club straight away. And this is a great thing. This is on my rant this week. Ronaldo comes out today and says, you've got to wait 2 weeks to hear the truth. Fuck you, Ronaldo. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Absolute fuck you, Ronaldo, because that is everything that's wrong with the club. And what you are seeing is I look at that team that went out this week and I look at Ten Hag. Now, Ten Hag is a very, very good coach. And so, all right, people saying Premier League's a bit different. It's not really, because the philosophy and the style of football he plays, the people he's learnt off, works in the Premier League as dictated to by you seeing Arteta's improvement. Now he's got the players and the personnel because it requires a lot of discipline. You look at Pep, he went out and bought players who were very disciplined. Do you know what I mean? There is a facts it can work. And you look at the players that were out on the pitch this weekend, and there's a lot of players I think escape Man United attention. And I'm starting with David De Gea, right? There's no way on God's green earth he isn't the biggest bitcher, moaner of that football club. He gets away with it because last year, that was the first time United have hemorrhaged people having shots. So, of course, he had some good saves. And I'll give him that. But the problem is if you're a top team, you look at Ederson. He might face 3 shots a game, but I'll tell you what, he's on the ball. And you could see that first goal is the reason that David De Gea, and he's only one player I'm going to pick up. He's only the first player I'm going to tell off this week. But there is no fucking way, right? He is a top-level goalkeeper anymore because only one chance. Let's just say that was the entire fucking chance. Already lost the advantage. He switched off for that goal, and it's not the first time. Do you know what I mean? It's not the first time. Harry Maguire, do you know what I mean? If he's leading you, you've got big fucking problems. You've got big problems. The fact that the coach hasn't been backed, half of this team is still part of the problem. Do you know what I mean? And look at the leaders of this club. Like, you look at the leaders. Harry Maguire looks brilliant for England is because he's got some absolute superstars and leaders around him. Do you know what I mean? The same with, there's a reason David De Gea has not been the starting goalkeeper of Spain. There's a reason. His distribution is appalling compared to the other coach and the coach's player style. But you look at this, Ronaldo doesn't want to be there. He caught a disconsolate figure. The coach now doesn't want him. Jadon Sancho, do you know what I mean? Useless. Rashford hasn't had a good game since the Arsenal game 2 years ago. There is way too much clingers on. Bruno Fernandes, again, poor because he's been built up. These guys need some proper investment because this side is as weak as piss.
I can't argue with any of that. Like, I can't disagree with anything you've just said. I think with De Gea, it would have been a kick in the guts to see Henderson keep so well for Forest as well. But I don't look. it's probably never as bad as it seems, or I'm not too sure about that. But I'm not too. I don't know how United get out of it. I don't know. There's not enough time in the transfer window, not enough money to spend. But I think the owners probably have to go. I think that they've made this bed. It's sad. It's sad because Old Trafford. I've heard some people say it's becoming a bit derelict in some sections. I mean, this is Manchester United. This is not. We're not talking about a nothing club. This is the biggest known club in the world in all sports. The league, everything simply can't have them be in the position they're in. And I don't want to offend people. This is not Liverpool we're talking about either. This is Manchester United. This is a level above Liverpool, in my opinion, as well. The league could cope with Liverpool being down the bottom and mid-table for so long. Not United. It's worrying.
Mate,
it's worrying, and I can't fix you. Yeah.
It's spot on, and a lot of people I've seen a few people back David De Gea, but you've got to. I go back to Jose, and I agree. Henderson isn't the answer. I'm not bothered that Henderson's not there. My issue with David De Gea is Jose had issues with him. Rangnick, who came in, said that we needed open heart surgery, and the facts are the modern day keeper to play Ten Hag's system, to play Rangnick's system, which is working dividends. Austria already. I know that's international management, but already their turnaround is very quick, right? Requires a ball-playing, very confident shot stopper who can distribute well. And that's been De Gea's weakness all the time. Even in Fergie, that was Fergie's issue with him, his distribution. And he worked the system to compensate that. The problem they've got at the moment at United, the owners have got people in who don't do the job. There's and I agree with Gary Neville on this, way too many businessmen making football decisions that haven't got a Scooby. And if United were the United of old, look at Fergie when he got rid of goalkeepers, when he got rid of players, when he realised that everyone's time has an outlet, they were gone. And to be brutally honest, Bruno, it was written all over the stars what you're seeing from Bruno. Bruno is the biggest moaner on the field. Even when he misplaces a pass, he's blaming other people. And you go back to the quality sides, there is discipline. And when you've got Ten Hag in, it's a very specific system. The fact that we're still at the stage now where United are just recycling money and looking for the cheap options when they said they were going to back someone in. That was the big thing when they bought Rangnick in, that they were going to go easy in January because they wanted to launch with a new coach, with the new plan. The fact they've disregarded that plan almost straight away, and in the later end of the show, you'll see what I mean by that, is a disgrace. And United are in a world of hurt with a week and a half of the transfer window to go. Stadium falling to pieces, fans wanting a rebellion, the Glazers doing whatever the fuck they want when they want. That is a huge issue, and I can see some big issues at United, some big issues, and it's going to get a fuckload worse before it gets better.
Yeah, and I think that when I look at United, I compare them actually a lot to Carlton, from what Carlton have gone through, and you just look at the sacked managers, and you go, since Fergie left, you go, Moyes failed, probably didn't get long enough. Van Gaal failed. Mourinho, Ole, I probably missed someone in there, and so on and so on. And now Ten Hag's coming. At some point, you've got to wake up and say, we've had 6 managers since Fergie's left, and nothing's changed. Well, it's clearly not the manager then. And I link this to Carlton because I go back to what Mourinho said. When Mourinho said, we need a rebuild, like we need to rebuild this squad. We got to get rid of Pogba. We've got to get rid of so on and so on. And the club didn't listen. They're like, no, fuck you, man. You're out because we'll get someone in. And Ole, like a David Teague, came in and got a few cheap wins, and the fans fell in love with him because he got wins. And that fell to pieces. So I don't know.
Mate, from start to finish, the transfers, I mean, you look at United have spent big since 2013, and they did start backing managers. I question if they were backing managers or they were backing the bank balance, because you look at a lot of these superstar names, they didn't really fit the system. We know that Jose has come out since and said that a lot of them signings weren't even the recommended signings for him. Fred, I agree with Chicken Imp fanboy. Fred, people slate Fred. But I'll tell you what, at least Fred traces and tracks fucking back. Do you know what I mean? At times, he's not brilliant. He's not great. He's not maybe a United player. But at least he has a shot. Do you know what I mean? Some of these United players this weekend, Bruno couldn't be asked to track back. Do you know what I mean? And when you hear Jose Mourinho say finishing second is his greatest achievement in his career with the squad he had, says it all. I mean, Ole got second. Ole is a genius, evidently.
Yeah, but it still turned to shit. I don't know. Mate, there's something deep. You know, I saw someone, a United fan, make a tweet the other day, and it actually cracked me up because I say it to my dad about Carlton, and it was a tweet saying, "Do you think that we're being United fans are being punished as adults for the rewards they got as kids?" Did you see that tweet?
Yeah.
I found that hilarious because I say that to my dad all the time. I said, "Man, I'm getting punished as an adult supporting Carlton because you got rewarded when you were my age." And I think United's the same. When you were kids, United were the greatest team on the planet, and now you're sitting on the bottom of the Premier League. Fuck.
Do you know what I mean? Mate, and I agree. And this is the problem at United, and Bruno will agree with me here. United build these players up. Like, Bruno looked good because he was playing next to Pogba. Yeah. And let's be honest, Pogba gives you two Rabanas, some shitty little fucking dance a game. So his intensity is there, but the old United dig in, and that works from the top. Do you know what I mean? Works from the top. And I'm not like Gary Neville. That Gary Neville Redknapp was a great argument. I think the players do need a bit of responsibility, but I think the fact that the last two coaches, with Rangnick as well included as an interim, have said you need to change something, that is saying a lot of players. And I agree with what Michael's saying here. Arsenal have backed the management. They've backed them in. They've got some bargains this year to suit his style. The problem is I know for facts Ten Hag isn't getting the time. So I reckon if he loses 3 or 4 more games in the next 6 weeks, do you know what I mean? There's going to be they're going to start going with that financial call decision. And before you know it, we're back to square one. And if you were a player, would you want to come and play for Man United? I wouldn't. And I think that's a big shame.
Yeah. No, and you're right. And as a West Ham fan, I look at it and I say Declan Rice, you know, seeing United where they are, like, why would Declan Rice leave West Ham to go to Manchester United, to be honest? Like, other than the name. And the name only gets you so far.
Mate, I could not agree more. And like I say, Arsenal have done the right. I've done the right thing. So let's have a look fast. Cheer me up. What has caught your eye this week?
Do you want to feel how it feels?
What we got?
Okay, well, what caught my eye? You couldn't go past the managerial brawl of a lifetime. I watched this 10, 12, 15 times. I just could not get enough. I wanted more. Why did the people get in there and separate them? The build up at the start with the goal and getting in each other's face and then at the end the handshake, just I'm getting hairs on the back of my neck standing up because it was everything we love about sport, everything we love about Premier League football, and more of it. I say, look, I don't condone fighting. I don't want people punching on and all that, but if I was a Chelsea or Tottenham fan, I'd be looking at these two and saying, shit, yes. Shit, yeah. These managers care. They actually care. And Conte, to me, he's a gem. He's an absolute gem.
Mate, I'm a big fan of Conte. I love the disrespect of not looking him in the eye. And I love the fire. I love the celebration. I'm a big fan that type of celebration as well. I love seeing, a coach,
Cold-blooded.
mate. I love seeing a coach, live what his players are going through. That excites me. And yeah, I'm a big fan, and I do love Tuchel's coolness, isn't he? He's a very cool, calm type guy, isn't he? As well, you can see he's a bit more laid back. But what is amazing when you watch him is he literally he will defend his team just as hard as they do.
Love it. Yeah, that's true. That's what caught my eye. There's not much more to say. Everyone saw it, and yeah, I loved it, and more of it.
Mate, I think the Nick I don't mind it at the end of the game. Like, do you know what I mean? I don't mind the heat at the moment, and they all kissed and made up at the end, didn't they?
Yeah.
Michael didn't like it. Each to their own, mate. I mean,
yeah, no, I get it, but yeah,
it wasn't professional, but
yeah.
I do like it. So, and for those asking, we have got an open league, high scoring league. So that is in there if you are a fantasy football buff. You can go up against the geniuses that are me and Fazz. And
I'm struggling.
Very good. But don't follow Fazz's advice. He goes this, and we've got an interesting one for Pom's Ponder. We'll like this one.
It doesn't hurt me. Do you want to feel how it feels? Do you want to know?
This is United's window. So what I've got here is we've identified the actual areas that Rangnick and Erik ten Hag mentioned in Dutch press of where they're looking for. And we went through their transfer rumours. So here you are, a three goalkeepers that we've been heavily linked with. Andre Onana has now gone to Inter since we were linked with him for next to nothing. Jan Sommer and Meslier from Leeds. And you look at this here that they've identified these, and what you're looking at here is very cheap alternatives as well. The Leeds United guy is probably going to be too expensive, but the fact, my issue here with United is you look at Arsenal, they were very quick to enact who they were looking for. And the fact we're 2 weeks in, and again, David De Gea hasn't been first choice for the last two coaches in rumour and in innuendo. It's kind of been by necessity, but there's always been the talk. Again, it baffles me that we don't see one of these guys, particularly Andre, big working relationship with Ten Hag. The fact that he just gapped off to Inter and currently warming their bench.
And yeah, I was amazed that he didn't find his way across. I think he's a great keeper and great song as well, Oh, Nana, what's your name? Oh, Nana. Imagine just that, like, bring him down. But yeah, that was a surprise. Didn't happen. Meslier, I love him at Leeds. Be too expensive. They won't sell him. Yeah, what do you say? I think you're stuck with De Gea.
And this is what I just find it's truly bizarre, because the players we're going to see here, I've taken the cheaper option. So, like, you look at right back here, right? Serginho Dest has been wanted out, according to Spanish reports, since April last year. He was told he could leave. So let that sink in, because they have the financial problems. And at the moment, the fee they're expecting is around 20 million, right? Yeah. They chased Denzel Dumfries, who would be open to it, but the offer now is around 45, 50. Max Aarons is currently wasting away in the Championship.
How is Max Aarons still in the Championship?
And Max Aarons, that's gone stale, but the talk is that they value him about 25, 30 million. And probably one of the few players that isn't going to worry about Champions League football. And when you look at Wan-Bissaka, do you know what I mean, who is predominantly playing that side, you look this week as well at Diego Dalot, who played down that side, woeful. He's got the crossing of a vampire, fucking scared of them. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't work. And then when we brought the young Malakir on, he looked pretty good. And these are, again, people that we're not talking big fees for these players.
No. Well, I look at Max Aarons just straight away. That name just hits me straight in the face, because I'm like, how is he still in the Championship? He is quality. The fact that he's English as well, I mean, it just adds to all your, the visas and all that stuff. The squad rules. How has it as a team not got him? I just don't get it. It blows my mind how he's still in the championship. I thought 2 seasons ago he'd leave.
Mate, I'm with you. And then I look at this. I'll tell you what, get Bellerin in. He's massive upgrade on fucking Wan-Bissaka. I mean, I'm thinking about dropping 10 kgs and fucking signing. And then you look at the midfield, and we've got Frankie de Jong, probably the longest saga I've seen since the last 4 episodes of Game of Thrones. Like, this guy, like, honestly, this guy is doing my head in. And the United of old would have pulled out. And I think this is, again, another transfer window. And I don't know if Bruno's still in. Chicken Imp fanboy, I don't know if you're in. Jacob, I know you're a United fan as well. Like, why aren't they? United of old would have said, right, okay, this is the fee. This is what you'll pay you. Fuck off. Right? And move on to another thing. And United just this week have gone in for Casemiro, who I've got on there, on the list. And I actually nearly had a wank when I said we're linked to Casemiro, because we've needed a CDM, as number 6, since Fergie just left after the West Brom game. And we've finally been linked. Like Casemiro, the United fans are going, oh, I don't like him. And I'm like, hang about. He's the number 6, though. It's the first time we've been linked to a genuine number 6. So, and then I look at Declan Rice, and I think if we rang you up with 65 mil, I think you're saying, do you want Declan Rice?
I don't know if West Ham would sell him for 65, but I do see your point. He'd be very handy for you guys, but I don't know what to tell you, Pommy. You're just in a position where it's just a world of hurt. Do you know? Like, are these boys? You really need to do your deals before the season started, because the longer the season goes on and the longer this transfer window goes, players like Declan and De Jong, they'll be like, do I really want to walk into what looks like could be a basket case at the moment? You know?
Hey, and that's my problem now, because United, because they haven't done this, like you say, watch this, if you're them, and you're kind of like this, aren't you? I don't want to fucking go there. After the start of this, I will tell you now, if you are a footballer and you watch this weekend, fuck me. That is a worry. If I was anyway thinking about coming to United, I'd be like, oh, yeah, maybe not for me anymore.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
I think it's a big worry. And then this is the one that hurts me the most. This is, I think, United's big problem. That they're keeping Ronaldo, I'll tell you for now, because the one good bit of press they've got is the fact CR7's back there. Yeah. And I watched Anthony this weekend for Ajax, and I was like, different gravy. Different gravy. Do you know what I mean? And I agree with this comment here as well. I can't believe Harry got that, the captaincy. But then I look at Anthony, and and the sporting director at Paris confirmed the Rashford rumours. Said they were willing to go up to 70 million for Rashford, which I think is peanuts. I think he's well over. I would have given peanuts for Rashford. I would say Rashford, if he wasn't English, would be 30 mil max.
I'm with you.
70 million. If you translate that into English, Anthony's valued in English pounds by Ajax themselves at 70. So you're almost doing a fair swap. They're looking to get 80. So you could get him for 10 mil because he's taking Rashford's role. And I'm like, how have you not done that?
Yeah, I'm with you. That name just keeps popping up time and time again, but it just doesn't happen.
Mate, you failed it. Liverpool, they get battered by Liverpool. That says the job. And then you look at these guys here. You've got Kuna and Thuram, do you know what I mean, who have recently been linked to United. I don't mind Thuram, and I think Kuna, baby Neymar, they call him. That worries me, to be honest. But I'm thinking the United of old would get this done. And I think last week, exactly like Chipping fans says, Paris will pay a premium. But the rumours are that the sporting director in an interview said United turned round and said they want triple figures for him, 100 mil.
Jesus.
And I'm like, you walk Rashford. Like 70 mil, I'd walk Rashford. From Melbourne now, I would walk to Manchester and piggyback the twat over the channel.
I'm with you. It's just, you're in a world of hurt, and, take it from a West Ham fan. You can only get up from here. You can only get up. But yeah.
Mate, and my ponder is here, fucking sign some players. Do you know what I mean? And I've got a horrible feeling that the club is going to be sold at some point, maybe October, November. And I've got a horrible feeling because we're getting linked with loan deals. Christian Pulisic is a loan. That says everything for United, that a top 4 side is willing us to loan us their reserves. That is Chelsea basically saying, you guys are dog shit.
Yeah, it's that's a mind game, in it. Chelsea just doing the whole. Yeah.
If Pulisic signs, I'm going to start saying at least we've got the LeBron James of soccer.
I love that. Best clip ever.
Let's hope it gets better. Me and Fazz will look at the week ahead.
Hurt me. Do you want to feel how it feels? Do you want to know?
And here we are, the week ahead. We've got some great games, and we start with Spurs and Wolves. Are we watching this one, Fazz?
We'll see. I don't see why not, but we'll see.
It'll either be, because that's the game day before.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking at the Sunday 11 o'clock West Ham Brighton.
Oh yeah, but I mean, obviously, when Carlton beat Collingwood, we might be a bit worse for wear.
Well, that'd be a great live. Yeah, no. Look, so the first game, Tottenham Wolves. I mean, we just go by form. Tottenham should batter them. I think 3-4-0. Wolves haven't impressed me. Tottenham have impressed me.
I can see a big game as well for Son. Yep. I think he's due a big game. I like that one. And then we go over to the big fixtures, and this is going to be actually. I looked at this Sunday midnight is the week I look at, and I get a bit excited because that time it's always you got to pick one, haven't you? When they're all on at the same time, you're like, which one do I pick? And we start with probably the game I'm picking, Palace Villa.
Yeah, I'm picking this one too. Pressure on Palace. They've only got the point. They, haven't been overly impressive. Villa coming off a good win. I'm going to tip 2-2.
2-2. I think you're going to see a Steven Gerrard away from home masterclass 1-0.
Ooh. All right.
But when he switches to that 4-1-2-1-2, Gerrard's up to something. He loves it. And then we got Everton.
Oh.
This game here could either be the tie of the round. Much love, Mighty Hibs. Good luck this weekend, but not too much love. This could either be the tie of the round or the biggest ball fest you've ever seen. What are you thinking?
Everton are diabolical. I'm going to go Forest 1-0.
Really? I've got this one as 0-0.
Yeah. I was leaning towards that, but I've got Forest 1-0. Jesse Lingard.
Mate, I like that. And then we've got Fulham Brentford. This one here, two sides that will be up and about, who are probably 3 points ahead of where they actually probably anticipated they'd be at this time of the season.
Yeah.
What are you thinking of this one?
Brentford looked good, but I think United were pretty bad. I think Fulham's going to continue their good run, and I reckon they'll get the win. I'm going to go 2-1 Fulham.
I'm going to curse Mitrovic here and go, I think he'll score a hat-trick. They'll win 3-0.
Yeah.
Shock the world. Yeah. You watch, you'll go back to being a hack now. So thank you very much. Then we got Leicester Southampton. This one, again, on paper, a real exciting game. I like this one because both of these sides could do with a win.
They could do with a win, all right. Look, I'm looking at... I can't go back now. I've been slagging off Southampton I think Leicester will get the job done. 3-1.
3-1. I've got this 1-1. I reckon Joe Aribo pop up again. Honestly, he scores it. He's like an early naughty Sasha Grey movie. He does them 2 at a time.
Love it.
And then we've got Bournemouth, Arsenal. This is disaster, isn't it, for Bournemouth?
Bloodbath. They've just come off a bloodbath from City. I'm going to go one step further. I reckon Arsenal put 5 past them.
Really?
Yep.
I've got this as a 3-0. I can see Arteta going up, and then second half, he starts thinking about the back end of the season and just running the game out. I don't think they'll get too battered, but I think it is a win. And then we've got, this is probably the tie of the round, because I don't think United are going to make much of their game. But Leeds-Chelsea, I've got a sneaky feeling here this is a draw. I reckon Leeds are going to snatch a 1-1.
Yeah, I'm going to say 2-2. I don't trust Leeds' defence. So,
mate, much love as well to you, Xbox. We love you too. And then we've got your team against Brighton of Albion.
Brighton 3-1.
Really?
Yeah.
I reckon at home, partisan crowd, bubbles everywhere.
West Ham are coming off. They're playing tonight, coming off a Europa Conference League playoff. Small squad. West Ham haven't beaten Brighton in the Premier League era. Brighton 3-1.
1-0. 1-0 West Ham.
I'll take it.
Jared Bowen. Jared, but you know, when you say you're in Europe this week, you're not really. You're playing a side that I'm pretty sure when your team get on the freaking plane today, and they're like, "Where are we off, champs?" And they're like, "Oh, we're playing a team from the Faroe Islands." They're like, "Is that made up?"
I'm pretty sure I sneezed and I was able to pronounce the name of the team we were playing. But nah, look, I'm just not feeling them at the moment. But if they get up, maybe it'll change my tune.
Mate, and this is the game, the derby, the Arabian derby, I'm calling it. Newcastle versus City. I reckon,
City.
Mate, I reckon City are going to do a number here.
Yeah, I think so too. I think I'm looking at 4.
Yeah, I think this is a 4-5-0. I've got a feeling as well, old Jackie Grealish is going to have a day out this game.
Yeah, I feel ya. Love a bit of Jack Grealish, but yeah, this has got 4 or 5 written all over it. And then the big one.
Oh God, yeah, fuck me. That's going to bring me back down when Carlton have cemented finals, isn't it?
Nah, I'm going the other way because I think Liverpool have been diabolical. I reckon United get this 2-1.
Fucking Jesus.
United 2-1. Liverpool have been shit.
I've got a horrible feeling about this game, and the start has made it worse. I reckon this is 3-0 Liverpool, and I reckon we play them into form. And I reckon I'm going to be probably drunk Sunday, drunk Monday, and then I'll be fucking back to being drunk Wednesday when I get over this, because I'll build myself up. By Monday, I'll be confident. And I'll read something in the press, like Mo Salah has had a dodgy curry or something, and I'll be like, got a chance here. And I'll watch it, and I will be... my wife actually made me was trying to force me to turn the Brentford game off, and I refused. Because I was like, I'll stay till the job is done.
And I'll talk to you during the week, obviously. And I was like, I reckon you're a good chance here. 2-1 United.
Fazz will get inside my head. Before I know it, fantasy football, I've got Rashford as captain. I mean, I've completely decimated the side, but no, I don't hold much hope. And I'll take it as a win if United score. That's how bad I am. You know what I mean? We will get battered. But that is all we've got time for. We've got a bit over the show. We love this time of the week. Thank you for watching, everyone.
Amazing.
And we will see you next week.
No worries. Have a good one, guys.